So, Renuka, 24-year-old female patient, resident of Kashmir, studied till 10th standard, is a field worker by profession, presented with chief complaints of hypertension for 5 years, weakness of left upper limb and lower limb 2 years back, and weakness of both lower limbs for 1 year. So history dates back to 4 years when she was diagnosed to be hypertensive during routine evaluation for her primary infertility, where she could not conceive for 2 years after marriage. And later, she visited a physician for the same and was kept on antihypertensives. Then, no history suggestive of chest pain, shortness of breath, palpitations, limb weakness, headache, visual blurring, or decrease in urine output. Later, she conceived spontaneously in a year, and she continued to work in fields till 7th month of pregnancy. Later, she was confined to home as her pregnancy was advancing. And the entire pregnancy was uneventful with no history of seizures, oliguria, shortness of breath, headache, visual blurring during pregnancy. And her pregnancy was terminated by LSES and 39th week of gestation in view of her hypertension. Even the postnatal history is also uneventful. So, and then later, she resorted to regular activities, and she noticed weakness of sudden onset of weakness of left upper and lower limb while she was working in fields. Her weakness progressed over the day with no history of deviation of angle of mouth, no history of bowel or bladder incontinence or involuntary movements, and no history of any premonitory symptoms like headache or aura. And then she was evaluated and she was found to have high blood pressure and bleeding in the brain. And the need for an intervention or a surgery is explained. She was given physiotherapy and her weakness gradually recovered over 6 to 8 months. But she could not get the procedure or the surgery done in view of cost constraints.
No, procedure for in the brain or in the outside?
No, sir. No, sir. Procedures for her hypertension. Sir.
Okay.
Later, her weakness completely resolved and she resorted to normal activities. Gradually, she noticed that her both lower limbs, she had weakness in both her lower limbs for past 1 year, which she noticed during routine field activity. There is history of pain in bilateral calf and thigh muscles on walking for over 200 meters, which aggravated on exertion and climbing uphill and relieved with rest. No history of night pain or wrist pain or trophic skin changes. No history of loss of sensation of touch, pressure and temperature. No history of color changes during the pain. And no history of fever, loss of appetite, weight loss or night sweats, arthralgia or hemoptysis. And she came to our hospital for further evaluation and management. Her past history, no significant history. Past medical history other than hypertension. So personal history, her appetite, sleep is normal, bowel and bladder patterns are normal. Menstrual history, she attained menarche at 14 years of age, normal bleeding, and she bleeds for 3 days in 30 days. And family history is not significant. Sibling history, she has got an elder brother and a younger sister. Both are hale and healthy. So she belongs to lower middle socio-economic class. And to summarize, 24-year-old female patient presented with history of hypertension for 5 years and history of sudden onset of weakness suggestive of a cerebrovascular accident 2 years back involving left upper and lower limbs. Yes, sir. Hemiparesis, sir. Hemiparesis suggestive of a cerebrovascular weakness of the weakness of both lower limb for 1 year, sir. With weakness and pain on walking for greater than 200 meters for 1 year, and with no history of any constitutional symptoms.
Okay, but this is used now. You can use now medical terminology. Now is something that claudication lower limbs or
claudication, sir. Claudication pain of both the lower limbs.
So claudication pain, what's the claudical distance?
So greater than 200 meters, she is able to walk without. Up till 200 meters, she is able to walk without pain, sir. It is.
So it is what kind of Fontaine report? What classification belongs to?
It is a Fontaine class 2A, sir. Greater than 200 meters, she is not having any pain, sir.
So claudical pains both calf, in the thigh and calf, or only contact?
Yes, sir. Mid thigh and both calves, sir.
So hypertension only detected at the age of 21 years, right?
Yes, sir. Around 20 years she was detected. That was on routine evaluation, where she was evaluated for her primary infertility.
She married at what age?
Sir? Sorry, sir? She was 20 years, sir. 20 years.
Any family history? Family history happened not there?
No family history, sir. No significant family history.
Tell us what is this?
Sir? Sorry, sir?
From history, tell what is diagnosis.
Sir, by history, I put coarctation of aorta as the first diagnosis, sir, and second would be acquired coarctation, that is aortic arteritis, non-specific aortic arteritis. I have put the second diagnosis. Third, I would like to consider fibromuscular dysplasia, sir.
Coarctation aorta quite developed now. The claudication not before.
So there will be a bimodal age of presentation, sir. So second peak would be in third or fourth.
No. Bimodal age of presentation for what?
It would be in third or fourth decade, sir. Second peak would be in third or fourth decade.
No. Bimodal presentation for which symptoms? Bimodal presentation for heart failure.
Heart failure, sir.
Heart failure.
Okay.
Patient develop heart failure in infancy because of too close with doctors. So it increase in afterload annually fails.
Yes, sir.
And second is long-standing hypertension results in heart failure at age beyond 40 years.
Yes.
Campbell series.
Yes, sir.
Campbell series.
Campbell series.
This may develop heart failure before that also.
Yes, sir.
So it is a heart failure, not the other complication. What is the complication of coarctation aorta?
So there can be heart.
No, naturalist or coarctation aorta? Naturalist.
Sir, according to Campbell series, sir.
No, tell me what are series you got.
Sir, there will be bimodal age of presentation will be there. So with 10% presenting in infancy with congestive heart failure, 90% would present in the adulthood. And causes of complications and causes of death would be congenital congestive heart failure, infective endocarditis, or rupture of aorta, and subarachnoid hemorrhage with perioaneurysmal rupture, sir. So mortality would be second decade around 25%, sir, and third decade 50%, and fifth decade 75% mortality rate, sir, according to Campbell series.
She had one pregnancy, delivery.
She had one pregnancy, yes.
Yeah, nothing happened that time.
Nothing happened, sir.
So why does coarctation? How did coarctation present now? Why develop claudication now at the age of now? Why? But develop before, long before. Patient now by this time, patient very much well developed collaterals. Why develop claudication now?
Yes, sir. Claudication is unlikely, sir. Fatigability will be there. Fatigability will be the first symptom in coarctation.
Why coarctation?
Sir?
Why coarctation? Coarctation at 5 times.
Yes, sir. Okay, so
what is the mechanism? Why the patient will be incomplete? The diagnosis will be incomplete, no?
Sir, I'm not able to hear you, sir.
No, you told that he had CVA.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
CVA.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
CVA because of there is intracranial bleed by intracerebral bleed.
Yes.
So what is the mechanism of bleeding in case of aorta arteritis?
Sir, it is a hypertension, sir. Hypertension or critical stenosis of carotids or vertebral arteries.
Critical stenosis characteristic won't possibly bleeding, no, because the blood supply is less to the
Yes.
brain. So why the patient develop on the bleed?
Or hypertension per se, sir. Hypertensive emergency.
Hypertension.
Yes.
Now there is both lower limbs weakness and claudication in aorta arteries.
Sir, because there will be diffuse arterial involvement will be there, sir. Multifocal arterial involvement will be there in aorta arteritis.
No, but why involved? Why? What is the pathology here? What is the pathology of lower limb?
Progressive stenosis might be there, sir, with the.
Which artery, no? Artery or
the femoral arteries, the bilateral femoral arteries, according to the site of the pain, sir.
Bilateral femoral arteries simultaneously.
Below the femoral arteries, yes, sir. Mid-thigh level, she is saying, sir, pain.
How common you get bilateral femoral artery involvement in the aorta arteries? How common it occurs? What is the involvement? Tell me which artery is involved in aorta arteries commonly? Which arteries are involved?
Sir, according to Kerr et al., it is the subclavian artery that is most commonly involved, sir. Around 93% they say, sir. And followed by that.
I'm not asking the frequency of the incidence of involvement. Tell me what are the arteries involved?
Sir, large vessels are involved, sir. Large vessels are involved, sir. Aorta and branches of aorta, subclavian arteries, renal, common carotids, abdominal aorta can celiac and superior mesenteric arteries, and iliac arteries. Even coronaries and pulmonary arteries can also be involved, sir.
And other artery?
Sir, coronaries and pulmonary.
Any other artery, pulmonary arteries? Okay.
Pulmonary arteries.
But now, okay, fine. Tell me which artery involved, who is giving rise to claudication and lower limb weakness? Which artery involved?
So maybe aorta-iliac junction, sir.
Aorta-iliac junction.
Sir.
Fibromuscular dysplasia, what is that? Fibromuscular dysplasia, what is that?
So, fibromuscular dysplasia, yes, sir. It is a disease of medium and small vessels, sir. So most commonly involves the renal arteries and carotids can be involved. Mesenteric arteries can be involved, sir. Bilateral extremities can also be involved, sir. Though arm involvement is rare in it.
Okay, you are you're suspecting renal artery, FMD of renal artery, which will result in hypertension.
Hypertension, yes, sir. Renal artery involvement.
Okay. Any other things? Any other?
Sir, if we can ignore the history of hypertension, then you can consider other diagnoses, sir.
No, you can't ignore it, no? How to ignore it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's the main point, that is, you can't ignore it.
Yes.
Okay, any cardiac structural heart is possible, not?
So cardiac involvement is possible, sir. It is possible in aorta arteritis.
No, in this case.
No, sir. By history, she does not reveal any cardinal symptoms, sir. She's having very good effort intolerance. Her entire pregnancy is well tolerated.
Okay, is there any other collagen vascular disease or connective disorders?
Yes, sir, possible, sir. Possible, sir, with the history of claudication pain and yes, sir. Hypertension is possible, sir. Connective tissue disorders.
But there is no arthralgia not there.
Sir? No constitutional symptoms, sir. No constitutional symptoms.
No arthralgia, no arthritis, no rash, nothing there.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so fine. So exams not good. Exams and findings.
Yes, coming to general physical examination, patient is conscious, coherent and cooperative. Height is 152 centimeters and weight is 40 kg and BMI is 20 kg per meter square. Upper limb, low limb segment ratio is 0.98. Arm span is 150. Sir, arm span is 150 centimeters, sir, and no dysmorphic features. Her hair, skin, face, spine, back, oral cavity and dental hygiene is normal, sir, and no pallor, icterus, clubbing, cyanosis, koilonychia, lymphadenopathy or edema. Sir, no fundus I have not checked, sir. I have not checked the fundus. And so temperature is, she is febrile. Pulse is, sir, I have looked for any color changes of the skin, sir. No bluish discoloration or paler in lower limbs, and no trophic changes, sir. And pulse is 88 per minute and regular. Character of the vessel wall is normal with radial and brachiofemoral delay, sir. And bilateral upper limb and even lower limb it is present, sir. I would like to elaborate pulse on all the major arteries, sir. And carotids, right carotid it is 3+, left carotid it is 3+, sir. Right brachial it is 3+, and left brachial it is 1+. And right radial it is 3+, left radial it is 1+, sir. Ulnar, right ulnar it is 3+, left ulnar it is 1+. Right femoral it is plus, sir, 1+. Left femoral it is 1+, and popliteal dorsal is anterior and posterior tibial arteries on both sides. I could not feel the pulse, sir. As I could not measure the pulse in both the lower limbs, ankle brachial index I could not calculate, sir. And blood pressure, right arm supine position, it is 140 by 80 millimeter of mercury.
Is there any indication of calculation of ankle brachial index here?
Sir, to know if there is any critical limb ischemia, sir, or peripheral vascular disease.
They are not getting the pulse. What else you want? They are not getting pulse lower limb. How can measure the ankle brachial index?
Okay, sir.
BP upper limb.
So blood pressure in right arm supine position, it is 140 by 80 millimeter of mercury. Left arm supine position, it is 90 millimeter mercury systolic, sir. Both lower limbs I could not measure the blood pressure, sir. And JVP main column is normal with normal waveforms and normal respiratory variation with absent hepatojugular reflex. And inspection and palpation together, chest is bilaterally symmetric, trachea is central, no precordial bulge, scar, sinuses or dilated veins. Apex is seen and felt in left fifth intercostal space, slightly medial to the midclavicular line, normal apex. And no epigastric or suprasternal pulsations, no parasternal heave, no thrills, and no palpebral heart sounds. Percussion, right heart border is retrosternal, left heart border corresponds to apex, left second intercostal space is resonant. And auscultation, first heart sound is normal, second heart sound, both components are heard, normal P2 intensity with normal split. No S3, S4 or any ejection clicks, and no murmur, sir. Cardiovascular examination is normal, sir. And other system examinations, it is normal, sir. When CNS bilateral power in all four limbs is normal, sir. And no sensory deficit. Yes.
Finish?
So she didn't had any cardiac involvement, sir.
No. What is that? Any bruit over the supplementary and bruit over the carotids, any bruit over the spine?
No bruit, sir. No bruit.
Renal bruit?
No bruit, sir.
Have you ausculted?
Yes, sir.
Have you examined the spine?
Yes, sir. I have auscultated, sir. Yes.
There are no bruit over the spine?
No, sir. I could not hear any spine.
But you are getting some pulse in the left upper limb. So there is no bruit in supplementary, no bruit, no carrot, no bruit left side?
No, sir. I could not appreciate any bruit, sir.
Have you examined for? Have you looked
yes,
for?
Yes, sir. I have looked for it, sir. I've looked for it.
And no renal bruit there?
Renal bruit also I could not hear, sir.
And any abdominal pulsation you got?
Abdominal pulsations that were normal, sir. Normal abdominal pulsations I could get. Normal aortic pulsations. Abdominal aortic pulsations.
Have you put your stress on the femoral artery? There no breathe on both femoral artery, no breathe.
No, sir. No, I could not feel, sir. So only I felt maybe the occlusion is higher up.
Occlusion higher up.
Yes, sir.
Whatever you are not getting no breathe over this time, either the quadriceps aorta or aorta, you should get breathe, no?
Yes, sir.
You totally cut off it is. Totally cut off like aortic interruption.
Sir?
Totally cut off, that aorta is totally cut off, there no breathe on the spine, no breathe in the abdomen, no systolic breathe. How come it is? This spine should have been checked. You can tell the findings. We are discussing as per your findings. No, we are not able to check your findings now. So yes. Our discussion is centering on your findings.
Yes,
what are your findings?
By history, she was hypertensive, sir, and history of left hemiparesis.
Understood that. We are discussing as per your history, as per your findings.
Yes, sir. So predominantly I could find a pulse deficit in left upper limb and bilateral lower limbs. And there is variation in blood pressure, sir. Right upper limb had, she had 141. So, large vessel arteritis involving left subclavian artery and bilateral femoral arteries, most probably at the iliac junction, with hypertension, with left hemiplegia, most probably non-specific aortoarteritis, that is Takayasu, in chronic phase, in sinus rhythm, NYHA functional class 1, with no evidence of coronary or pulmonary involvement, and no evidence of pulmonary artery hypertension.
How to say there is no evidence of coronary and pulmonary involvement?
Only by symptoms, sir, I could say.
What is the mechanical hypertension here then?
Renal artery involvement.
You are telling no renal artery involvement. How do renal artery involvement there? Why do we say renal artery involvement there? You are not getting renal breathe, not getting.
So.
Why do you say renal involvement?
So there are other causes of hyper. We can consider other pathological.
What the cause hypertension?
Decreased vascular compliance, or there can be any disturbance in baroreceptor mechanisms producing hyperrenemia or renal artery stenosis. But I could not hear any renal artery bruit.
Describe renal artery bruit, which suggests which is very much on a pathognomia for renal artery stenosis. Describe the bruit. How to get it?
So disturbance.
So what you just describe the renal artery bruit or renal artery hypertension or renovascular hypertension, tell the characteristic of renal artery bruit.
Sir, we find systolic or
So systolic bruit is spilling over diastolic.
Diastole.
It is continuous. If continuous, very much pathognomia for renal artery stenosis.
Yes, sir. Continuous means yes, more than 70.
Spill no 70, more than 70. It is spilled over to diastole.
Diastole, sir. Yes.
So renal artery bruit is not very specific also. The transgender may not get renal artery bruit. May not get renal artery bruit even though there is renal artery stenosis.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, if you think of it as it's not coarctation, eh?
Sir? Sorry, sir.
Not coarctation aorta. Coarctation.
Coarctation of aorta, sir.
He told no, he
Possible, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He told he has to undergo some procedures that time.
Yes,
Why
sir.
not?
If
Why not?
left, yes, sir, possible, sir. But
What if not? Why not?
sir, age is slightly against, sir, because second peak could be seen in third or fourth decade, and
No.
claudication plane is unlikely, sir, by history. There will be like fatigue, and even body development also. Upper body will be more prominently developed than the lower body.
Oh, that you can't see. That you can't see upper body more developed, lower body less developed. That is not sign of.
Murmur of collaterals, sir. Murmur of collaterals will be more evident in coarctation of aorta. Even coarct would reveal a prominent systolic murmur. So I could not hear any murmur of coarctation or murmur of collaterals, sir. Continuous murmur of collaterals I could not hear, sir.
Oh, you can't explain the carotid. The left carotid is feeble. You know, you can't explain any coarctation out.
No, carotids are fine, sir. Left carotid is fine. Brachials are feeble, sir. Brachials are feeble.
So okay, if that is so, you should get all the left. If it is subclavian, so you should have got blood pressure is left upper limb and left lower, both lower limbs equal, same.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not coarctation. Possible coarctation. Maybe. What do you think that?
If left subclavian arises from post-coarctation segment, then it is possible, sir.
Possible, but if that is so, you can get blood pressure in left subclavian artery or left brachial artery equal to left lower limb blood pressure.
Because, yes, sir.
But you are not getting any pulse in both lower limbs.
Yes, sir.
And second thing, okay, fine. It sometimes may develop the coarct segment. Coarct segment. Sometimes the subclavian artery originates from the coarct segment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not below the coarct.
Yes, sir.
Coarct segment. So
yes.
That time that happens. No, subclavian artery, brachial artery blood pressure may be higher than the lower limb blood pressure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So second time, so keep coarctation out. Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And fibromuscular dysplasia, is it possible? Of course. Is it possible?
Possible. Sir, but age is against it, sir. Age is against it. And even age, sir. Age.
Okay. Years or below 30 years, hypertension, think of pulmonary dysplasia.
Yes.
Below 35 years, 30 or 33 years, 30 years, below 30 years, patient level hypertension, think of pulmonary dysplasia.
Yes.
More common female. Is female? Why? Age against. Age is very much in favor.
Yes.
Age is very much in favor. Only thing that you can't explain that low left uncommon to have
it would not involve aorta, sir. Aortic involvement is less likely.
No, it involves aorta. It involves all. It can involve aorta. Fibromuscular dysplasia, one of the cause of awkward coarctation.
Yes.
Dysplasia is one of the cause of awkward coarctation.
Yes. Yes.
Awkward coarctation is aorta-arteritis, fibromuscular dysplasia, and neuromuscular. Neurofibromatosis.
Neurofibromatosis. Yes.
Awkward coarctation. Of course. So now you are thinking of aorta-arteritis, possible white type 2 or type 3?
Only arch vessels have involved.
Arch vessel involved?
Subclavian artery involved. So type 2, sir. No.
What is type 2?
No, sir, sorry. Type 1 is arch and arch vessel, sir. Type 2 is only thoraco-abdominal aorta, sir. So that is so arch vessels. It is type 1, sir. Type
3.
Type 1.
Type 3.
Type 3. Okay, thoraco-abdominal. Yes, sir. Type 3.
And gone there, both lower limb claudication there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Possible type 3, that could be the symptoms wise, signs wise, involved in coronary pulmonary, that could be involved, but clinically it is type 3.
Yes, sir. Clinically type 3, sir.
Yes. So how to investigate it? How to investigate it is what? How to investigate for past diagnosis? Diagnosis.
First by history, sir. Next, evaluation.
Nobody knows that. Evaluation, tell you. History, clinical method.
Yes. Yes, sir. And investigations, blood investigations.
Have you got X-rays with you? X-rays?
Yes, sir. Right now, no, sir. They were normal, sir. ECG and chest X-ray were normal.
Both are normal.
Both are normal, sir. So echo was also normal, sir. Echo was also normal, sir. No cardiac involvement, sir.
What is the cardiac involvement outright?
So cardiac involvement, aortic regurgitation, sir, 5 to 25%. Mitral regurgitation with annular aortic ectasia, sir. Mitral regurgitation around 11%, sir.
Why what mechanism MRI?
Sir, secondary to cardiomyopathy, sir, because myocarditis is also possible.
Mitral valve palsy and involved.
So cardiomyopathy, secondary to cardiomyopathy, sir. Mitral valve palsy can also involve, sir. Yes, sir. And pulmonary artery hypertension and involvement of coronary and coronaries, involvement of coronaries.
Coronary, which coronary involved? All both coronary or only one coronary? Or?
Sir, both coronaries can be involved.
What is the pattern of coronary involvement in aortic arteries?
So RCA is more common than LCA, sir. Sir?
Why RCA more common than LCA? I don't know this. Why RCA more common?
So according to some series, it is RCA more than LCA, sir. And according to Pancha series, it is both are equal, sir.
We have seen mostly left system no longer. We have seen all the many cases on left system, either LM osteum or LED osteum. Most of the time, left system is more common than right system. So, why don't human case more that no, arthritis more common than LED?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Coronary, what is the pattern coronary involvement? Tell me.
Osteal involvement is more common, sir.
Okay, then. But involvement you told coronary, then myocarditis, aortic valve, mitral valve.
And due to hypertension also, the person can have hypertensive heart disease.
What happened to hypertension? How hypertension happened to heart? How hypertension affects heart?
So, chronic increase in afterload, sir.
Tell me, no,
there can be concentric hypertrophy, and eventually there will be diastolic dysfunction, sir. So the person can land up in heart failure with preserved ejection fractions.
You told a patient has got hypertension, constant hypertrophy, eventually diagnosed?
Yes, sir. Diastolic dysfunction.
Once diastolic dysfunction, then systolic dysfunction goes to hypertensive cardiomyopathy.
Yes. Hypertension. Nothing, sir.
Okay, so fine. The ECG is normal. ECG is echo is normal. Cardiovascular echo normal.
For blood investigation, sir. Blood investigations, there will be elevated ESR and CRP ratios, sir. And pentraxin 3 is a novel biomarker for non-specific arteritis. Yeah. And matrix metalloproteinases 2 is for diagnosis, sir, and 3 and 9 for disease activity, sir. So, and as it is more commonly associated with connective tissue disorders, even ANCA profile and rheumatoid factor also checks, and immunoglobulin levels also. And
this is biomarker. Then what else? The next.
So imaging, sir.
What imaging you do?
Imaging, we can do routine ultrasound, sir, which will show the increase in thickness of vessels basal wall. And even Doppler ultrasound will show monophasic blood flow will be there, sir. And panarteritis will be there, sir. So, and arterial involvement can be fatal. Focal segmental or diffuse involvement can be there. And, sometimes Macroni sign will be there, so that is nodal sign. And we can do other CT angio and MR angio. So. And FDG PET would give the disease activity. And fluorescein angio of retinal vessels would give the retinal ocular involvement in arteritis.
Okay, that's all about that. How can diagnosis fibromuscular dysplasia? Dysplasia angiographically.
Angiographically, their bead on string appearance will be there, sir. Angiographically.
Which artery or which?
Renal arteries. Bead on string appearance will be there, sir.
Where?
So because they'll, sir.
Where will present? Which renal artery? Where will present? No? Renal artery starting from the origin to the division. Where it present? FMP where it present?
So mid renal.
Then what else? So you have to know, suppose outright you know the activity of disease.
Yes, sir.
What do you think of clinically active? It looks like active or it is a burnout phase?
It is not active, so pulselessness is there, so no pulse. So it is burnt phase, chronic phase.
But still, there is chance of increasing CRP, GS, MR, ESR will there or not? All cases, pulses phase.
No, sir. Not in all cases, sir.
Still get some increased activity also may get, even though patient is coming to the occlusive stage, but still they will have some activity. So those cases you have to treat the activity by all immunosuppressed therapy, and then you treat the patient.
Yes.
The patient, if there is no emergency requirement of intervention or procedures.
Yes.
Okay, that's okay. This will give me a short case only, so not a long case, because cardiovascular finding not much there, only the peripheral vessels there. So suppose it is a case of coarctation, what to do?
Sir?
Suppose it is a case of coarctation out.
Yes, sir.
What is the management in this case?
So management, sir, surgery or revascularization with the intervention, sir.
You tell me what to do for this case. You have seen the case clinically.
Yes, sir. Sir, if it is coact, we'll look at the gradient, sir. If there are significant.
What gradient? It is mild coarctation mean? The mild coarctation?
Because there is significant pulse deficit, so it must be significant, sir, clinically. Echo gradient should be.
How do you know severity of coarctation clinical evaluation? What is severe coarctation?
Sir, if there is a gradient of greater than 20 millimeter of mercury, sir.
What gradient? Systolic, diastolic, or both?
Systolic gradient.
How do you know clinical systolic gradient more than 20? Clinical gradient. Clinical, how do you know patient has got severe coarctation now?
There can be LV dysfunction, sir.
No. Properly, only blood pressure, that is not that gives to gradient. Normal. Properly blood pressure, lowering blood pressure, that is given gradient across coarctation now. Gradient is more than 20 millimeter mercury difference, you can see. You can patient severe coarctation now. With or without right arm hypertension.
Yes, sir.
With or without hypertension, gradient more than 20 is severe pain.
So, yes, sir.
And the collaterals, that is not for clinical diagnosis of coarctation aorta. Upper lowering blood pressure difference and delay Radiofemoral
Yes.
delay. Why do you get radiofemoral delay in cox's now?
Because there is delay in pulse arrival, sir.
Which pulse arrival delay you? Which pulse absent?
Sir, only tidal wave is felt, sir. Percussion wave is absent, sir. We feel only tidal wave.
Okay. Cox's outer, but there is no autofemoral delay, or there is no significant difference in upper and lower limb blood pressure. What are the conditions?
Sir, if it is associated with significant collaterals or a PDA or aortic regurgitation, or if there is mild, if the coact is mild, or if associated hyperdynamic states, there won't be radiofemoral delay, sir.
Right, hyperdynamic state, like?
Sir, anemia, pregnancy, fever, thyrotoxicosis.
So why there is PD, there is no delay or no difference upper and lower limb blood pulse? What the mechanism of PD? Okay, I understand. Yeah, okay, comments. Okay, fine. There is some mechanism. Why PD happens like this?
So, because stroke volume will be more, sir.
Stroke volume more in the it's not in the absence of aortic stenosis. In the absence of bicuspid aortic valve, the stroke volume is good.
Yes, sir.
So why PD there is no pulse deficit, there is no delay. Patient has to.
Sir, if the coact is preductal, sir, preductal coact.
Preductal, sir. What is preductal coact? It doesn't matter, no.
Yes.
Preductal or it doesn't matter. The coact is outer. It's
Yes.
outer.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't matter pre or post coact. So, what the indication of co-intervention? You told severe co, but gradient is less than 20, but there indication. What are the indication?
So, LV dysfunctions. If there is associated LV dysfunction, there can be reduced gradients.
Then?
So, extensive collaterals also there can be decreased gradients.
How do you know extensive collateral there? How do you know patient has extensive collateral and how do not extensive collateral but tight coarctation but gradient less because of extensive collateral? How do you know this?
Sir, don't know this. Don't know the answers.
You can't know this. What is the evidence of extensive collaterals? What is the evidence of extensive collaterals? Which artery forms collaterals or which branches?
Sir, branches of subclavian and axillary artery gives collaterals. So they give anterior intercostal arteries and
Axillary?
Sir, can I elaborate, sir?
You can elaborate, no problem. You can elaborate.
Yes, sir.
Axillary?
Okay, sir. Sir, internal mammary artery of first part of subclavian artery gives rise to anterior intercostal arteries from 3 to 6 tips, and which forms anastomosis with the posterior intercostal arteries arising from the descending aorta. And this internal thoracic artery divides into superior epigastric and musculophrenic arteries. So musculophrenic arteries gives 6, 7, 8 intercostal arteries, which anterior intercostal arteries, which form an anastomosis with 6, 7, 8 posterior intercostal arteries arising from descending aorta. Also, the lateral thoracic artery arising from the second part of axillary artery will give also gives branches to anastomosis. And there is a scapular anastomosis, which is formed by dorsal scapular, which is a branch of third part of subclavian artery, and suprascapular artery and subscapular artery. So subscapular artery is a branch of axillary artery, so third part of axillary artery. And vertebral artery, which is a branch of first part of subclavian artery, forms the anterior spinal artery, and this gives the segmental arteries to the aorta. So basically 5 levels of anastomosis you can find. And superior epigastric artery joins with the inferior epigastric artery of external iliac arteries.
So how to group them? How to classify them? How to classify the collaterals? How to group them, or the anterior or posterior or something? That how to classify the collaterals? Clinically, how do you know the patient has got a good collaterals?
The lower limb blood pressures are good, sir. No pulse deficit.
You don't know, no? Low blood pressure because of may not be severe. May not be severe.
Sir, Schuchman sign, sir. Schuchman sign and even rib notching and X-rays.
You can get also. You can get murmur, continuous murmur also.
Continuous murmurs of collaterals.
Process of the intercostal arteries, especially posterior intercostal arteries, and Schuchman sign. Schuchman sign, I have not seen it. I have not seen actually. I have not seen it. So yes. You can see that putting the on a torse tangentially, patient stepping forward. Most important is the pulsation and the constant murmur and X-ray therapy reimbursement.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So in the presence of significant collaterals, you may not get pulse difference between upper and lower limb and blood source, so not much difference.
Yes.
But if the patient is symptomatic, easy fatigability, and even sometimes pain, chest pain.
Yes, sir.
And
yes.
Has clinical equilibrium dysfunction or ecocardioid equilibrium dysfunction, that is indication for intervention.
Yes.
And there is more than angiographically more than 70% of stenosis of the distal aorta.
Yes.
At the quad segment.
Yes.
Despite less difference in blood pressure in upper and lower limb, less gradient across the aorta.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If patient develop more than 80%, you may get a continuous murmur.
Sorry, sir. I could not hear, sir.
If you get 80% stenosis of the quad segment,
yes, sir.
You may
continuous
get continuous murmur.
Yes.
Okay. So now the question that is the supposition quad test now. What is your plan for this case? So what is happening here? So brachial artery, the subclavian artery getting origin from the quad segment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the and percutaneous intervention not the procedure choice, because subclavian artery getting involved here.
Yes, sir.
Surgery is the best option. Which patient doesn't? Surgery.
Surgery is the best option. Yes, sir.
So you have to extract and reimplant.
Yes, sir.
If the patient not willing for that, still you can do percutaneous.
Yes, sir.
Mostly you can go ahead with the bare stent.
Yes, sir.
And we'll avoid here our stent because you want to keep the subclavian artery flow intact. You put the our stent and subclavian artery will knock out subclavian artery because it's getting origin from the quad segment.
Yes, sir.
So we have to bare metal stent and you can put across.
Yes, sir.
If it's fiber muscular dysplasia, what to do? So fiber muscular dysplasia, if it's relatory, both relatory, you do only balloon most times. If you resect, then you balloon stand, already only balloon.
Okay, sir. Yes.
And probably you could do balloon if subclinitis is focal disease there. So we can do balloon. Or the patient has got there is no left upper limb claudication, there are no ischemia symptoms in left upper limb, we can leave it.
Yes, sir. No symptoms, sir. No symptoms.
Yeah, so you can do that thing. And for lower limb, similarly, balloon can be done. Or you can do outofemoral bypass, depending on the anatomical condition.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so this case will be in a circuit tube, so
yes, sir.
half an hour the exam.